I got the cops called on me for parking my old pickup truck on my own ranch. Not for trespassing or stealing, just parking. The HOA president from the fancy neighborhood next door showed up with her posse, fuming because my rusty Dodge was supposedly ruining their curb appeal. Lady, it's my driveway on my 50 acres. But the real kicker? She had no idea the sheriff pulling up was my son. This is a story of property rights, community, and karma in a uniform. Stick around, because it's a wild ride. It was a scorching July morning in Texas, and I'd just finished a grueling night fixing wiring at a neighbor's farm. I'm Jack Thompson, a rancher who moonlights as an electrician to keep the lights on. My 50-acre spread, Thompson Ranch, is my pride and joy, bought with my late wife, Ellen, back in 2005. I pulled my 20-year-old Dodge Ram up to the gate to check the mailbox, same as every morning for 2 decades. The engine ticked as it cooled, my cattle lowed in the distance, and all seemed right with the world. Then came the honking. A gleaming BMW screeched to a halt behind me, and out stepped Susan Caldwell, president of the Oakwood Heights Homeowners Association. Oakwood Heights is the McMansion-filled subdivision next to my ranch, where a crooked mailbox is treated like a felony. Susan stormed over in a crisp blazer, waving a clipboard like a battle flag. "You can't park here," she shrieked. "This violates HOA expanded boundary rules." I laughed, pointing to the faded sign reading Thompson Ranch, EST 2005. "Ma'am, this is my land. Been mine for 20 years. But Susan wasn't hearing it. She flipped through her papers, ranting about Resolution 52A and how my truck was tanking their property values. She even tried to yank my ranch sign out of its concrete base. Good luck, it survived hurricanes. When that failed, she switched tactics. "Sell this ranch to the HOA," she demanded. "I'll make it worth your while, or I'll make sure you leave." I'm a patient man. My son, Matt, always said I could outlast a mule. But this woman trying to bully me off the land where I'd scattered Ellen's ashes, where I'd taught Matt to ride and drive, lit a fire in me. "Bless your heart," I said with a Texas grin, knowing what that really means around here. "This land's my life. You're dreaming if you think I'll sell." Susan's face turned beet red, and she whipped out her phone. 911. "There's a suspicious man refusing to leave HOA territory. He's dangerous." I stayed calm, started recording on my phone, and texted Matt. "Need you soon, son." Susan painted me as a criminal mastermind of illegal parking to the dispatcher. Sirens wailed in the distance, and Susan gloated. "You're going to jail for trespassing." 2 young deputies arrived, looking exhausted. They glanced at my truck, my sign, and Susan's hysterics. The younger one, Officer Davis, smirked as he handed back my ID. "Sir, you're on your own property. No violation here." Susan screeched, "That truck's an eyesore. It's assaulting our scenic views." The older deputy, Rodriguez, was already halfway back to the patrol car. I chuckled. "I'm live streaming this, ma'am." My phone showed 5,000 viewers, with comments like, "Karen's losing it." Susan paled but doubled down. Over the next few days, her campaign escalated. She called 911 again at dawn, hired a photographer to document my truck's every move, and started an online group, Oakwood Against Parking Crimes, with 300 members. She even sent a $500 fine for parking at a 93-degree angle. I decided to fight fire with creativity. Every Valentine's Day, I'd arranged hay bales in a heart for Ellen. Now, I parked my truck in hearts, stars, even spelled out Texas with borrowed rigs. My nightly Parking with Jack live stream became a hit, pulling 50,000 viewers. I shared stories of the ranch, like teaching Matt to parallel park right there. Donations poured in, and viewers shared their own HOA horror stories. We were building a movement over where I parked my truck. Susan's true plan slipped out in a letter. "Your ranch lowers Oakwood's values. Sell to the HOA." She wanted my land cheap to flip to developers. Viewers dug into records, finding her Resolution 52A was never filed fake. Matt's voice was proud when I updated him. "Tomorrow, Dad, bring backup," he said. I ended that night's stream with a tease. "Y'all want backup?" Tomorrow, Susan's world flips. The chat went wild, and I saw Susan watching from her window, fear replacing her smugness. Next morning, I arranged 10 trucks to spell my land across my pasture. Susan arrived with 15 HOA minions, waving "Stop Illegal Parking" signs and a drone buzzing overhead. She screamed, "This ends now." Then a sheriff's cruiser rolled in. Susan sprinted to it, clipboard flailing. "Sheriff, this man's using parking as a weapon." The door opened, and out stepped Sheriff Matt Thompson. "Hey, Dad," he said with a grin. The silence was deafening. Susan's clipboard hit the dirt. The drone crashed. A minion whispered, "Did he say Dad?" The live stream hit 150,000 viewers, trending worldwide. Matt, in full uniform, said, "I'm Sheriff Matt Thompson, and Bob's my father. Mrs. Caldwell, you've called 911 two times about my dad's legal parking. That's a crime." He pulled out his phone. "Your resolution 52A? Fake. And $1.50 millions missing from HOA funds enough to buy land around Dad's ranch." Susan stammered about corruption, but Matt shut her down. "I never handled Dad's calls, but I did investigate. You bribed a city hall clerk, Patricia Lane, to fake documents. She's testifying." Susan's posse scattered. 3 days later, she retaliated, hiring 5 semi-trucks to block my ranch's entrances at 2 a.m., halting my cattle feed delivery. I live-streamed it, documenting safety violations. Matt arrived, not as sheriff but as my son, and called transportation officials. One driver, Eddie Ruiz, cracked, admitting Susan paid $5,000 each, knowing he had a suspended license. At an emergency HOA meeting, Susan accused me of ruining property values. A resident, Diane Miller, countered, "Values are up 15% because of Jack's ranch charm." Then Susan had my truck towed, claiming it was in a fire lane. I smiled for the camera. "That's my disabled veteran spot. Stealing from it? Big mistake." Matt made a call, and that night, police rolled up to Susan's house. My truck sat in her driveway. Susan, in pajamas, screamed as Matt arrested her for grand theft auto. The tow driver called me, sobbing, "She lied about you being a squatter. I'm turning myself in." 6 weeks later, Susan's trial was a spectacle. Prosecutors showed her 12 unhinged 911 calls, delaying real emergencies. They proved she forged signatures and stole $1.5 million to buy my land for a $12 million profit. Patricia Lane testified about bribes. My lawyer, Karen Evans, showed my parking art hearts, stars, Merry Christmas as proof of community spirit, not terrorism. I testified about the ranch's meaning, where Ellen and I watched sunsets, where I taught Matt to stand for what's right. Susan's lawyer claimed she had parking phobia, earning a laugh from the judge. Her daughter, Emily, testified. "Mom called the cops on me for parking crooked at 17. She lost her self-to-control." Susan screamed, "I know my HOA rights." The jury took 30 minutes, guilty on all counts. She got 2 years in prison, $1.5 million restitution, 500 hours teaching DMV parking, and a restraining order. As she was cuffed, she yelled, "Check Matt's Austin records. Parking runs in the family." The courtroom buzzed, but I trusted Matt. 6 months later, Thompson Ranch hosted a parking party. 30 vehicles spelled justice across my pasture, my Dodge and a heart at the center. Matt addressed the crowd. "Karen's scandal? I got a $50 parking ticket at 19 in Austin. Paid it, kept the receipt." The crowd roared. Emily, now HOA president, banned 911 parking calls. A letter from Susan arrived. "I was wrong. You made the neighborhood worth living in. I'm learning to parallel park." We clapped, not for her, but for redemption's possibility. Matt and I sat on my truck's tailgate, watching the sunset. "Never thought protecting this place meant parking wars," he said. I laughed. "Life's funny, son. The smallest fights matter most." A new sign stood by the ranch gate. "Parking free and legal since forever." Susan tested, community approved. Netflix called for a documentary, and our legal fund helped homeowners fight HOA tyranny. All because I parked where I pleased. What do you think? Have you faced bullies or injustice like this? Share your thoughts below, especially on standing up to power. Take a stand, tell us your view, and let's keep this community strong.